Hello, everyone, and welcome to another community conversation on the health crisis in
of personnel.
That's a great
Another
question,
element
and I would
respond as
recommend
well.
to
We're
set
thinking outside the box, trying to come up with ways of
As you
moving.
already mentioned, the city is
Let's try to keep these numbers from doubling.
At over 33%.
Hope you're watching at home.
First, I want to say thank you for inviting me.
Hey, everybody, it's Mayor Eric Papenfuse. I am right here in the heart of Allison Hill off Whitehall Street near the city's greenhouse in Reservoir Park. And today we're going to talk about urban agriculture as well as the greenhouse project, what it's all about. If you pan the camera around, you'll see we're in a residential neighborhood of the city. Again, this is Whitehall Street. We are very close to the basketball courts at Reservoir Park and the brownstone just over the hill here. And if you didn't already know it, the city owns a greenhouse. And that greenhouse has sat derelict for a couple decades, but is finally getting some new life breathed into it as part of a working group which has come together to fundraise to bring the greenhouse back. And we're on the road today for Facebook Live in our community conversation so that we can spend a little bit of time finding out more about what's going to happen with the greenhouse and sort of show you some of the improvements that have already been made. As always, though, I want to start with a few general announcements, and I want to mention our trick-or-treat night. Got a flyer here coming up for the grab and go trick-or-treat night. As you know, we can't do traditional trick-or-treat this year. CDC guidelines don't recommend it. Too much of an opportunity to potentially spread coronavirus. We do want to have a couple areas available where kids can come and get candy. And so we're using our 3 fire stations, including the 2 in Allison Hill and the 1 in Uptown, as locations where people can come, line up in a safe, socially distant manner, and get a bag of candy. And we're asking the community, if you already bought your Halloween candy, because I know stores start early pushing the Halloween candy. If you've already got it, since we're not doing the traditional trick-or-treat, if it is still in the original wrapping, meaning a multi-pack bag, which is still fully wrapped, we are accepting donations at Harrisburg City Hall, and we'd love it if you could bring the candy by and help us. The more donations we can get, you can drop it off anytime we're open at City Hall, the more candy we're going to be able to have to distribute. We're also looking for a few additional partners. We've reached out to a number of different organizations to see if they want to join the grab and go night. And if you're asking, you can go to multiple fire stations. There's no limit. It says you can only go to one. If you want to get your kids together and drive from one fire station to the other, we've at least got 3 stops planned. So that is the grab and go trick-or-treat night, October 29th from 5 to 7. That should be a lot of fun. A couple other general announcements. Tonight in Reservoir Park is Moana. So we're not far from the band shell. They'll bring out the big screen and we'll be watching Moana. Next week is Zootopia, and those are the final 2 movies in Reservoir Park. This week on Monday, if you're interested, on YouTube, you can stream and watch the fire department's award ceremony. We're going to be recognizing some of our newest firefighter recruits, so you get a chance to meet them and find out more about what the fire department is doing on Monday. That is at 1 p.m., and you can see that on Channel 20 or the YouTube channel, which is just YouTube WHBG Channel 20. And City Council meeting on Tuesday this week is an important one. It's a 2-parter. We've got a 5:30 hearing, and then we have a 6:30 City Council meeting work session to discuss Bill 8. And Bill 8 is, of course, the Police Review Board discussion continuing. I think a lot of people are interested in participating in that. So that will be Tuesday at 6:30. 5:30 is some zoning matters. If you want to discuss policing, tune in at 6:30. So as I say, we're here at the greenhouse. We're going to do a little walk and talk. We're going to enjoy every aspect of being outdoors today. And our first stop is right here with Mr. Christopher Nath, who is the city's sustainability coordinator. Chris, nice to see you.
Hi.
I hope you're doing well.
Yep.
As you can see, we've had a little check-in this morning where we're taking temperatures, making sure everybody is going to be safe. Don't have too many people here working today, but we've got a number of stops that we're going to see. So, Chris, let's set the big context for us. What is the greenhouse project in a general sense, and why is it important?
Well, over the past couple of years, there's been a large number of stakeholder groups and volunteers in the city who come together to try and raise money and enthusiasm about restoring this greenhouse site, not necessarily just the building itself, but the surrounding gardens as well, back to functional use and to serve as an open green space and something that can be used by the city residents. And we've raised probably at this point about $80,000, plus there's been some work donated in kind. The glass that is on the exterior of the building was donated by the local Glazers Union. And we also recently received another grant to try to start a series of permaculture classes here as well.
That's exciting. We're gonna get into that. Now, some of the movement to revitalize the green. Well, first of all, how long has the greenhouse been basically underutilized?
As my understanding is that the city ceased using it themselves about 1997.
Right. And I wouldn't be surprised if there are many people watching this or in Harrisburg that didn't even know we had a greenhouse. And,
yeah, well,
we're trying to raise awareness. We're trying to let people know. A few years back, the city did what was called the Reservoir Park Master Plan. And we did a lot of outreach in the community. We had a lot of discussions. And one of the questions of that plan is, what are we going to do with this greenhouse and this greenhouse property? We've begun plans for a Chutes and Ladders playground. We're actively raising money to do all series of renovations for the park, but the greenhouse is a big part of that. And out of that sort of came this work group, which brings together a lot of different types of people and organizations. You're going to get to meet some of them in just a minute, and they've been working tirelessly to raise money. So let's talk about you, Chris, though. You are the sustainability coordinator for the city of Harrisburg. So under your domain is not just the greenhouse, but it's sustainability more generally. So can you talk a little bit about what does sustainability mean in Harrisburg? What are some of the things that are that you're working on right now?
Sure. Well, a number of the things that I've looked at since I've started with the city are utility use from the city, trying to convert over the city's power to renewable energy, trying to get the total load down of what we use. Looking at some aspects of green spaces like this, we've had discussions with the Environmental Advisory Council about looking at issues where increasing the number of city street trees, or at least taking better, like dealing with tree issues, trying to reduce stormwater runoff, working with CRW for that. And right now we're currently working with Harrisburg University, looking at doing a greenhouse gas inventory for the city, trying to come up with ways to look at creating a long-term local climate action plan for Harrisburg.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I think it'll be interesting to a lot of people. Let's walk and talk. We're going to walk up to the greenhouse while we talk a little bit more. Okay. So greenhouse gas sort of action plan. What's going on with solar in the city too? Because about a month or two ago, with great fanfare, we took control of the solar panels that were located at the old D&H site on 7th Street. And if you drive by today, like I did, to come out here to the greenhouse, you'll see that lot has been completely leveled, and the construction has already begun on the new state office building. What are we thinking in terms of repurposing those panels? When can the public hope to see some of those back in use in Harrisburg?
Sure. Well, we did take possession of them. They're currently being stored over near our salt dome, and we're looking at different configurations and possible plans right now to be able to install them for use in the city. We're looking at the covered parking piece over by the Public Works building, as well as possibly installing some ground-mounted installation near Cameron Street.
Okay, I think that's going to be good, and we'll have more as we get going with the budget demonstration. And you're also not only the city liaison to the Greenhouse Work Group, but the Environmental Advisory Council. So can you talk a little bit more about the Environmental Advisory Council and their role?
Sure.
We'll get to meet some of those members in just a minute.
Sure, yeah. The City Environmental Advisory Council, it's a volunteer board for the city, made up of a number of individuals, concerned citizens about environmental issues. We have the environmental science professor from Harrisburg University, who is the chair, Christine Proctor. We also have Molly Cheatham from Chesapeake Bay Foundation. I don't want to name everyone who's here. One local activist, Rafika Muhammad, is here. She is also on there, as well as Richard Martinez, who is a biology professor at, I believe, the Commonwealth Charter Academy School, and Leland Nelson, who is a local business owner who does a lot of work with the city cleaning up illegal dumping.
Good. And as I said, we'll talk more to some of those members in just a minute. All right, Chris, well, you're taking us to our first stop, and here it is, and here is Ms. Sharice Grayer, who is the special assistant to none other than Mr. Aaron Johnson, our Public Works Director.
Hi, everybody.
How you doing?
Yeah, and we're live on Facebook. We're having a good conversation.
Okay.
Chris set the stage a little bit, and before we get to some of the stations and learn about what may be for the future of the greenhouse, we thought we should talk a little bit about the history of the greenhouse.
Okay.
Now, I asked Chris, when was the greenhouse last operational? And I'll ask you the same question because I understand it wasn't so long ago that you actually remember working here
Yes.
at the greenhouse.
Not only working here, before I even started working for the city, I was actually one of the recreation kids that the city used to hire and
Yeah.
everything. And part of our duties and part of our programming was horticulture, planting, and things like that. And they would bring a group of kids up here. We would go digging in the dirt, planting for the next season and everything. And then that made me interested to work for Parks and Recreation. And we did the same
Literally
thing.
inspired you to a career decision, which
Definitely.
which has shaped your whole life.
Yes,
That's
it really
Yeah.
did. It really did. So after all that, I would say it was wonderful. Like Easter, whenever Easter, right now it's the fall. So we'll be getting ready to get the little cabbage flowers, the mums and everything.
Yeah.
So after that, that just inspired me to work for the city and everything.
All right. So you know what the greenhouse once was.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about? So you mentioned mums and flowers. What were some of the things that were grown here that were then utilized throughout the city?
Okay, so those same flowers that I'm speaking of, they would take those flowers and put them in the islands, such as Sunken Gardens,
Yeah.
such as Walnut Street Plaza, the islands around the state. So we just kept the city beautified and it all came out of here.
Yeah.
What else did we do? We did a host of things, Mayor, that just inspired a lot of the youth to do more, to be interested in growing foods. A lot of the youth right now, except for me, that was part of this program, are still gardening and things. They're still in touch with Miss Rafika and doing a lot of things. And I'm 49 now, so I think I was 5 when that program
Wow.
started. You
Yeah.
know, when I very first started going to Norwood Playground. And that was right up the street from 20th Street.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Well, so you know what it was, and I'm sure you're excited about all the people that have come together to help give rebirth to the greenhouse.
Yes.
For you though, why is this important? Why are you so excited for the future?
I'm really excited for several reasons. So for the last 4 years, I became a vegetarian vegan.
Aha.
And our community's health, we're depressed. It's a lot of things going on. It's a pandemic right now.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of people can't afford to buy foods the vegetables in
Yeah.
the stores are expensive.
Yeah.
They're a little bit more expensive. Everybody says it's cheaper to go ahead and buy the Big Mac than to buy some tomatoes or whatever. So this right here will make it more affordable for us to buy it. It'll be wonderful for the people that's in the parks to come down after they get ready to leave the park and stop by and visit, get their vegetables at a reasonable price and everything. And I just think that overall, it'll be a benefit to the entire community.
So we're just finishing here with Sharice. We're talking about why it was important and talking a little bit about hopefully some of the fresh vegetables and healthy
Yes.
foods that could come out of this, because encouraging Harrisburg to eat healthy is a big part of this. And if we pan around, we begin to see that we've got a lot of volunteers here, a lot of people coming together to show their support, and that's really exciting. And we're going to go over to our next station, which is our rain barrel station. And we're going to talk about the reuse and repurposing of trash cans, which is very exciting. And this is Monica Ross.
Hi, Mayor. It's
And
Monica.
Monica, and she is going to walk us through, I guess, a simple do-it-yourself project,
Yes.
which is how to transform an old trash can into a rain barrel. So take it away, Monica.
Well, let me tell you a funny story, because I bought a 32-inch gallon trash can. And before learning to do this, when it rained, I would run outside, throw the lid off, wait for it to stop,
Yeah.
run back outside, put the lid back on. So this really will come in handy. So basically, you can get any size trash can, and you need a couple simple parts. You need a drain,
Okay.
you need a bulk hop fitter, you need a valve, and you need some couplings, Teflon tape, and silicone.
All right.
And you can get these
You
from
made that list seem
any
easy, but
of
yeah,
your
yeah.
hardware stores.
Okay.
So the first thing you would do is trace your drain in your lid, and then cut the hole out. Then you want to trace your holes in the trash can for each part,
Right.
and cut those out. And then
Right.
it's simply just fitting the pieces together. So the bulk hole fitter will go into the bottom, and you would put that in as best
Right.
you can, and then this valve screws right into the bulk hole. So yeah, you would unscrew this. Put it in,
There you go.
screw it back in.
Watertight.
There we go. All right, that's in.
Yeah.
And then you would screw your valve in.
Yes. That's great.
And then you need some Teflon, and you would just put it around here, and then put it into this side,
Uh-huh.
and then you can stick this into here. So that's in tight. Then seal it all, and then you have your finished product.
That's right. So, so this is for filling up water cans or watering
or
cans
you
or
can
buckets.
actually
and, you know.
hook a hose to it
Okay.
as well.
And the upper.
The overflow can be used a couple different ways.
Uh-huh.
You can put a hose to this, or you can daisy chain multiples together. So as one fills up, you run a PVC piping from one to the other. So this one will fill into the next one.
Wow, that's incredible. Well, I know that sales at Home Depot are way up, and at home improvement stores, because people are home more, and they're looking for easy projects, things that they can do to around the house to improve their homes and gardens and yards. So rain barrel, that's fascinating. Now, so why? Let's talk though. Why is a rain barrel itself important? What?
Well,
What-
let me show
what's the
you.
benefit?
This is actually my little garden that I started
Okay.
this year.
And we'll get this on the camera too,
It
so
started
we can see.
from pallets. And I built this because
Oh,
I'm in the
clever,
city,
clever.
and I don't have a fence, so I wanted to keep out animals and I wanted to keep out people.
Yeah.
And then once I did that, I reused tubs from my attic that I had closed in that I wasn't using
Yeah.
anymore. So I just punched holes around the sides and at the bottom for drainage.
Yeah.
And then I started to fill in with my soil and my plants.
Wow.
And then over the summer, it just continued to grow, and I continued to add more plants.
Wow.
So the rain barrel was important because when it's dry and your plants need to be watered, you either spend the money running your own water, or you collect rain and use it to water your garden.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And from your experience, you know, how quickly do these fill up?
It depends
One-
on the
one
level
torrential
of rain.
rainstorm?
Yeah, you need a big
Okay.
torrential rain, but you can get a couple good rainstorms to give you enough to at least get you started.
Okay. Well, another thing that I know is that Capital Region Water will offer you a credit
Discount.
on your
Yeah,
stormwater
right.
bill if you
If
have
you
a rain
have
barrel.
something, yes.
And it depends on the sort of, total calculation of roof that drains into the rain barrel. But presumably you could have one on your home. If you've got a garage, you can have one in your garage. Basically, any place where you have a stormwater pipe, you could turn it into a rain barrel.
Correct.
And it makes gardening at home that much easier.
Yes.
And it's good for the environment and saves on the rest of our water. So it stops both the runoff and it stops the need for additional water. Well, that's terrific. So we'll go to our next station in a minute, and it's fun to see other types of things. But do you want to talk a little bit about why this type of coalition and everybody coming together in support of a project like the greenhouse is important to you?
Well, to me, like I said, I'm a first-time grower, so
Uh-huh.
my first garden, and I didn't think I could do it. So I don't even think I have a green thumb. I thought I had a brown thumb because every plant I had in the past died. So to be able to go from knowing nothing about gardening to be able to use my own vegetables in my food, I think this is absolutely a great idea for the community to come together and really learn. When COVID hit, people were supposed to be home. They didn't know when they were going to be able to go out and get food. Food was scarce. People worried about the fruits and the vegetables. Being able to grow it in yourself will alleviate some of that problem. Being able to sustain a community like this when in times of trouble is absolutely imperative.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, I'm impressed with what you did. And what sort of, what did you grow in your own garden?
I had about 4 different tomatoes. So my blueberry tomatoes and my yellow pear tomatoes really did great. My beefsteak tomatoes didn't do well, but I'll see what it does next year. I had, what was the other one? It was another type of brandywine potatoes, brandywine tomatoes. Those did really well.
Yeah.
I had peppers, eggplants, squash, strawberries, and broccoli collards that did well.
Great. Well, thanks so much. I'm really impressed. And as you made it clear, even if you don't have a lot of grass in your yard, you can create an elevated bed with pallets and use Rubbermaid tubs.
Use what you
That's
have.
amazing. That's amazing. And everybody's got some old trash cans. Since we upgraded everyone's trash cans in the
Right.
city of Harrisburg, there've got to be some old ones
Old
lying
ones
around,
sitting around,
and
yep.
we'll turn them into rain barrels. So thanks for showing us how easy it is. And do you know what the total cost of
I
all the supplies
do
was?
not.
Not too much though.
No,
Probably.
I don't think. If anything, this
20
is
bucks or
probably
something,
about
yeah.
5,
Yeah.
10,
Yeah.
10, 15, 20 bucks.
Yeah,
You're right.
exactly.
The
So-
most will cost you is the
Yeah.
trash can.
And if you can buy them in the stores, I've seen that as well, but they're usually going to be more like $7,500. So it's nice to have the
What, the rain
inexpensive.
barrel ones?
Yeah, if
Yeah.
you're going to go buy
Yeah,
an
don't
actual
buy.
one. Yeah,
Make your
Make
own.
your own. Fun project too. Okay, well thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Nice to see you.
You too.
All right. Next, we're heading over to see if Zach is here, and I think Zach is here. Hello, sir. I can recognize you even in your mask. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too, Mr.
We've got quite a group. This is exciting to see. Everybody out here eager and ready to volunteer. So, purpose of our station here is to talk a little bit about the broader coalition. So, who comprises this exciting greenhouse working group?
So many different people
Yeah.
from so many different organizations. It's insane. So we have the group I'm a part of, which is the Harrisburg Parks Foundation. And then on top of that, we have the Harrisburg Rotary and the Central Pennsylvania Food Bank and Ngozi, which was a latecomer to the race, but also started on this like a decade before anyone else did. There's just so many different groups. Oh, and then we have all the businesses that are helping us. So you've got Deloitte. They've spent hundreds of volunteer hours making this place look the way it is. So yeah, just an incredible group of people.
Yeah, and that's so exciting. And I know that we had that great article on Penn Live yesterday. I know people have been reaching out, just having read that, wanting to get involved. So sort of the sky is the limit, I would imagine, in terms of capacity. But what are there certain, what's your message to people who want to get involved?
So right now, there are no projects like on the ground that we're doing, but we're waiting on a new draft that will talk about like exactly how everything will happen with, I think H. Black and Associates is doing the landscaping plan. So once that's out, we're gonna need a lot of people helping with fundraising.
Yeah.
Because honestly, we have $100,000 invested so far, but there's another $200,000 to get this thing fully up and running. And then it's great to create a project, but the real tricky thing with any type of nonprofit work is to sustain that project.
Sure.
So what we're going to need help with is making sure that we have the funds coming in so this thing keeps making the community better for years and decades to come.
That's right. That's such an important part of fundraising. Hey, so tell us a little bit about, $100,000 raised so far is very impressive. Who do we have to thank for that? Like how has that come to be so far?
So the Harrisburg Parks Foundation is serving pretty much as the financial piggy bank, but we're not issuing any money. We're just the ones asking for the grants.
Yeah.
So the Witt Family Foundation gave us $25,000 last year, and then a different nonprofit that's also part of the working group got another $25,000 this year. So that's half of it just from the Witt family, which has been tremendous. We had $25,000 worth of labor and materials donated by a local glaziers union. Link in the description to that exact name because I don't remember the number, but they put in all the new glass
Well,
we
it was
needed.
the local union, and
Yeah.
if you look behind you at the greenhouse glass, and maybe we have some before pictures somewhere that we can paste in here. But while the insides haven't been renovated, the outside of the greenhouse it looks a lot better than it was.
It was
really,
shattered.
It was shattered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, at least half of the glass was gone.
Yeah.
So that's been a big one. And then the final groups of money have come from the local Rotary.
Okay.
And they donated 5,000. This might be a good segue for you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, we're about to go to the next step.
They donated $5,000 for these handicap-accessible raised garden beds. And as the audience will see in a moment, they are really, really cool. Not your average wooden beam setup.
Yeah, well, before we get to that, though, I had one more question for you, which is, you're very actively involved in the planning process in Harrisburg. Tell us a little bit from a planning perspective of, where does this fit in? And I can talk a little bit about the Reservoir Park Master Plan, the proposed Chutes and Ladders playground, but from a planning perspective, why is a project like this important for the city?
Right, so the initial momentum for this was the city would like to plant annual flowers all throughout its park system, but that all costs a lot of money when you buy it from private nurseries. So they were going to renovate the greenhouse and turn that into a growing spot. That was the start, and then it just blew up, and now you have this local agriculture being able to remove food deserts and have people be more self-reliant, promoting community through swapping of seeds and stories that come from growing stuff together. And as part of a planning thing, this was not part of the plan. We were just, it's going to be torn down, we're turned into a bike track. But the beautiful thing about the way the city does planning is we create something that we provide to the public, and then something might spark and go way beyond what we expected it to.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about planning in Harrisburg, is we don't try and meticulously make every little piece work the way it should. We create a rough draft, and then the public is the one that says, all right, let's make this happen.
That's right.
And it's wild.
It's about listening to the community and seeing the history, the energy, the perspective that everybody brings, and then incorporating it into the plan. Ed Black, who did the master plan for Reservoir Park originally, couldn't figure out how to make something like this sustainable, and it wasn't a part of the original plan. But when the community comes together, everything becomes possible, and we're well on our way to bringing this back. Now, as a final thing, if people want to donate to the Parks Foundation, how do they do that? How do they reach you?
So we're a project of the Foundation for Enhancing Communities, or TFEC for short. If you were to simply Google Harrisburg Parks Foundation, you'll find our website, and on the website there is a donate link that they can click on to provide a financial contribution to the parks. And just a bit about the Parks Foundation. We are basically a financial helper to the city, because parks are one of the last things the budget can afford, and it's one of the first things that gets cut from the budget. So in order to support this emerald necklace that enthrones Harrisburg, and hopefully, build more parks within other areas of the city as part of the plan, the Parks Foundation is meant to help make those projects happen. So just Google Harrisburg Parks Foundation and look for the donate on our website.
That's great. Thanks.
Thank you for the
so
plug.
Important so important to the quality of life, and it's a great way to get involved. And if you have the means and can support it financially, that's a great way to do it. So, all right, let's go see these ADA beds. We're going to walk over, and our next guest is James Good, who I spoke to a little bit earlier. Are we coming down to the end? All right. Mr. Good, nice to see you. Thanks for coming out. Before we get to the bed, let's talk Rotary. All right?
We love Rotary.
Why is the Rotary involved in a project like the greenhouse?
Well, Mr. Mayor, first of all, thank you for all the work that you and your team have done, and the leadership you're doing here, and building community, and just making a project available for education in the community, and helping fight hunger, right?
Yeah.
And that's what Rotary is really all about, just building community. And so we're excited to be a part of this project. Thanks so much for the opportunity.
Yeah, Rotary does so many good things, so influential both in the city and the school district. Really appreciative of all the efforts. And it's nice of you to be here today. So how do these ADA beds come into being, and how do they work?
Well, I was afraid you were going to ask me how they work.
All right.
Because that gets a little technical, right?
Yep.
But as Zach was explaining to me a little earlier, that basically underneath here you have you have an 80-gallon tank that the water in that tank just basically gets wicked up into into the bed, the raised bed, and that's where plants are able to grow then. And the accessibility here allows anyone to kind of pull up, even if they're in a wheelchair or if they are or if they're not, right?
Right.
Anyone can access the raised bed garden like that.
And you can probably grow just about anything.
You could probably just grow about
And the nice thing about it is we've got a fair bit of room here, but we can bring these in, utilize them, spread them out, and grow a lot of different things.
Together too.
Yeah,
So
if we look down the list. So I guess we're going to be assembling with some of our volunteers a few of these beds, and I don't know what we'll be planning today, but we get a chance to see them first and foremost. So. Has Rotary helped purchase these types of things before for other communities, or was this a first?
Well, this is a Rotary Club of Harrisburg project.
Yeah.
So this is the Rotary Club of Harrisburg just being involved right here in this community. And so I wouldn't want to say if Rotary as a general organization has done this kind of thing, but for sure in the city of Harrisburg right here, this is Rotary and the city of Harrisburg working together right in this community.
That's fantastic. Thanks so much, and we'll get some footage here perhaps in a moment. Maybe we'll walk down and let's see what's going on. We're just coming by to see what's going on here. We talked a little bit about how they come together, but we wanted to see the actual volunteers in work. Putting these together, and I guess
I found a long one.
there you go.
I got three that I'll show you. We're putting this together.
Chris, how long will it take to put one of these into service?
Not too long. I mean, like, I had tried to sort of test out that original one over there at Public Works to try to see, and I mostly got it assembled in about an hour or two. Then it's just a matter of adding the pea pebbles, which you see here, which is what holds everything in place and allows the water to wick up through these ropes from the tank, and then put the soil in place, and you just plant.
All right, that's fantastic. All right, well, we're now going to walk over and we're going to meet with Ms. Rafika Muhammad, who I think is right here. Rafika, we're coming to you. You can take us to wherever you want to take us.
Okay, we're going to go over here.
Yeah.
Hi, Eric Papenfuse, good seeing you. What
Nice
we're going
to
to
see
do
you.
today is we're going to put together what we call a hugelkultur bed.
All right.
A hugelkultur bed, or keyhole bed, is what we're doing is taking all of your trash, your waste,
Okay.
and building garden beds. So
Nice.
we found a nice log that was up here in the park. I bought food scraps, I got worms, shredded paper.
Wow.
So what we normally do, y'all can dump that on there. We lay down cardboard, so if you got cardboard just laying around the house, you want to get rid of stuff. And you're going to put soil on top of the log. So we'll be covering this log with, this is mushroom soil.
Okay.
This mushroom soil comes from the mushroom farm out of Philadelphia. And the mushroom soil will also help break down the log. Now what's exciting about this is the fact that we don't need any water, Mayor.
Okay.
This will hold all the water and it will slowly release it to the plants for it to grow. So most of the beds that we're going to install up here in the park will be these types. Again, the goal is not to have any burden. We're talking about putting a water catchment system up here, some type of catchment, maybe a pond or something. I have one of my scientists here I would like for you to meet.
Okay, yeah.
He has built greenhouses and ponds all over the world.
All right.
He taught me about being an aquaponics farmer. So we'll layer this like this. While you're continuing that, the next thing we're going to do is start adding more, I call home waste or waste.
Okay.
Again, the goal is to bring trash, taking stuff out of our waste stream. So we got shredded paper,
Sure.
which we'll add
Uh-huh.
around the base of the bed. Now, as we get rain, this will help break all this down.
Sure.
What we're doing is also putting carbon back into the ground.
fungus that's still alive in the soil here will start to eat and decompose this paper, kind of holding the carbon there.
Okay.
And allowing it to release back into the soil, and then whenever Rafika starts to put plants in here, they will then take up that carbon and kind of be a holding space for it. And it'll also break this down into base nutrients, which will in turn feed the plant. So instead of adding synthetic fertilizers or anything like that, by adding the paper and the kitchen scraps, that's the way that we're going to be feeding the plants through this system here.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Now the next thing I'm gonna do is, as you bring soil over, I'm gonna put food scrap down, and then we'll cover it with soil. So what I did, Mayor, was clean out my kitchen a little bit. We got
for you. Yeah.
some
yeah,
food
yeah.
scraps there. We're going to, since he's on this side, let me get some other gloves. I'm used to working without gloves, but because of this,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this.
We got some banana peels
This
and
is
some
food
food scraps.
So this is taking our food waste. We got banana peels and all. I just cleaned up my refrigerator, some stuff in there that wasn't too cool. So again, the paper, we're gonna add food waste. Again, this is another way of just keeping the stuff out of our waste stream. So as I'm adding this, Will's gonna go behind me and put in soil.
This helps balance out the carbon and nitrogen ratio, so we get a nice, good compost system going on in here. And again, keeps methane and other gases out of our landfills and things like that.
A couple little, these are no good anymore.
Okay.
Stick those there.
Boards.
We're gonna cover that stuff up real nice.
Cover up this one.
Good use for old Halloween pumpkins, isn't it? Yeah.
So we're gonna cover that really, really good. Also, that takes away the smell.
Okay.
So we're really just smelling is the soil.
Yeah.
You want to get it up underneath there too. Don't be afraid of pulling in all of those nooks and crannies.
All right. So can if people are watching this at home, can they utilize really any type of soil? You have a real sort of specialized
Yes.
soil here.
We like
but-
the mushroom soil because of the fact it's clean, meaning that it comes from the factories of the out of Philadelphia where they grow the mushrooms.
Well, that'd be ideal, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yes, and the spores are in there, and when the mushrooms come up, it's also helping to break this down as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
So this is something that anybody can really do at home. Again, we're doing no chemical. So this is basically feeding and taking care of the bugs itself. It's doing everything.
Okay.
All we gotta do is just plant them.
Okay.
That's crazy to say.
Somebody else want to help? Shovel a little bit real quick? Sure.
Really, people can utilize whatever type of soil they have. I know different municipalities have composting facilities that you can go access and go take a truck over and grab some soil. So really whatever you have available to you can work for a system like this. Oftentimes we use wood chips. You know, PPL comes through and a lot of other companies come through to trim off the branches around the electrical lines. And a lot of those wood chips eventually end up in the composting facility anyways. So if you can intercept those and add those, eventually mushrooms will grow into those wood chips and break it down into a soil, which usually takes about a year. So then you're just going to be creating your own soil at that point.
Then we're also now going to top on the other side with some wood chip. And we're going to put that on the side where we put the food. We're going to finish this side here with just so we don't put food on this side. With just soil.
Wood chips are like a long-term nutrient release for gardens. So you can add the soil, and whenever you put your plants in, they'll be taking nutrient from the soil first. But then over the year, as I said, and over a couple years, the wood chips will break down into soil, which will provide long-term nutrient for your garden.
Now, what is also going to happen too, over the years, this will all break down and we'll have soil. When we're talking about sustainability and sustaining the beds, only thing we have to do next year is come and add more topsoil, chips, plant. That's it. And let nature just take its course. So we will come back and finish. This will be all finished out with wood chips. It'll look really, really nice. The one thing that I do want to add in here is that I bought seeds and I bought my friends some worms.
All right.
So we're going to plant, this is the okra. And I take the seeds out the okra.
Sure.
See the seeds? We're going to, I broadcast these. Broadcasting means this. Okay. Ooh, this was full of seeds. We're going to have a lot of okra plants here.
Is that enough for that dirt?
Yep, we want to cover as much as we can, particularly on this side because we did put food. Now, people at home, because we know we got groundhogs, possums, skunks, etc. You can gate them. What I do is to keep all that down is I plant a lot of hot peppers as my perimeters, and that seems to work.
Hot peppers, okay, there's
so if the groundhog or whatever bites it, they just stop.
All right.
Okay, and then you'll take your pots, put it in.
Yep.
Everything goes back, biodegrades.
Yeah.
The next thing I want to show you is I brought my little friends who are my worms.
Yeah.
And these are red wiggler worms. I raise worms.
Wow, that looks really red.
They really red. I raise worms. We're going to incorporate these into the bed. And as you can see, there was paper and cardboard. And this is the final product.
Wow.
Okay? And also, this is the natural fertilizer because it's the worm castings. So we're going to put these in. And since we got food here, I'm going to bury these a little bit here so they'll consistently eat. We'll cover them up. They will create heat as they break down. And Mary, you know, when we talk about doing our composting, we should really look at worm composting. Because it'll take, break down a lot of food and food waste in a big period of time. So I got a little bit of food in here with it. Digging a little hole.
Well, talk to me about raising worms at home. Okay, does it take, I see you've got food waste, you've got, can you build up a group of worms pretty quickly?
Yes.
How long does it take to create a bucket like that?
They will multiply. I can give you a little handful of worms, and they will multiply in a couple weeks.
Wow, so fast.
So they eat a lot of the food waste from your house or from the garden quickly.
Nice.
So we're going to throw that in there like that. Matter of fact, I'm going to put it all around the bed. So if somebody can just come behind me and just fill in with more soil and chip.
Now, why do we put the cardboard down first?
Well, the cardboard is also acting like my weed barrier, so we don't have to cut. So what we're going to do is come back up here and use cardboard, so you'll have all of this, just like this with chip. It'll look all nice. We don't have to come up here and cut.
Right.
And we just keep adding and keep adding. Worms. So at home, say like this was already established, I got a bucket of not worms, but just food waste.
Yeah.
I just dig a little hole.
Put it in.
And put it in. And this compost is already hot. It's still composting. I can feel the heat.
Great. Do you recommend doing this at a particular time of year?
This is the best time right now.
This is it. Okay.
This is the best time.
Prepare your bed now for
spring.
For use in the spring.
Look at all those worms. I get excited.
I know you did really well with the worms. That's why I think we should have a whole show on how to raise worms.
I can do that for you.
You are an expert.
We can do that and throw that there. Now, do y'all smell anything?
No, not at all.
You don't smell anything, and that's the whole goal. You don't smell anything.
Yeah, I know.
The worms will go down in.
Yep.
When it rains, it won't wash anything. All this is going to hold the water. It'll be like a big sponge.
Okay.
And then when we come in the spring, hopefully those okras will grow, because they're not going to grow now. It's too cold.
Yeah.
I am going to put something in here.
Let it out when we stop.
Yes.
Yeah.
We can regrow food.
Okay, sure.
Okay, so we're going to plant her. She's not going to happen until spring. So I'm going to stick her on this side. We're gonna plant this right here. Ooh, this is so nice and warm.
So when my onions go bad, I should just save them and do that.
Yes, if they sprout, yes. You got new onions. Thank you. Yep. And pretty much that's it. We just need to top it off.
That's wonderful.
With chip, so it'll look all nice and we plant.
That's just great.
I got that little sprout in there. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Rafika, tell me a little bit more. So, would your vision for this be, how many of these types of growing beds would we be creating around here?
Well, my vision is to basically do these types of beds because they're easy. I feel they're easier to maintain. Again, not putting a burden on the city as far
Fairly
as watering,
easy,
et cetera. We can incorporate a lot of waste that we have around here. There's a these are Hugel cartridges. There's also something called a Keyhole Design, which is a big U shape. So the big tree logs, as the city is going through, taking down trees, I did ask us to stack those neatly over there, and then we can use those. So as you come through, now of course they'll be so many inches apart. I'm probably gonna do them like maybe 6 feet wide, so we can take things through.
Yeah.
So that's how the beds will be. Definitely back here. I want to talk to some of my students and some folks that's working with this. What would be best to plant against the fence? As water comes in, as you know, a lot of water comes through here. We want to make sure whatever we plant there, we'll do a couple things. Slow water down. We can grow food or flowers or whatever that we decide to put there. But they can do what they need to do to keep the soil intact. But the water will still come down here and feed this slowly and slowing down before it hits our streets. So this is also another way to help with flood reduction.
Sure. Wow. Well, that's amazing. Well, so we now have, I think, a much better understanding of the types of things that can happen here at the greenhouse. You are also a member of the Environmental Advisory Council, and we wanted to talk just a little bit, let the public know a little bit about what the council's doing. Other things that are being planned. I know it's budget season.
Yes, we had, matter of fact, we had a council meeting last night. As you know, the city is going to be one of our EJAP symposium hubs. I'm very excited about that. And what that means is that we're going to put in an environmental institute at HU. You're going to be, our main host next year for that. We're also talking about...
This will be an environmentally focused symposium.
Yes.
It'll take place in Harrisburg next year. It's a partnership between Harrisburg and Harrisburg University.
And the Department of Environmental Protection and Department of Environmental Justice Board.
Yes.
So we're very excited. It's a statewide event. Also, what we're also doing is that we have some funding. We'll keep our fingers crossed that we get the grant that's coming in through for, I don't know where that coming from. Get that through. To help us with flood mitigation.
Yep.
So we're very, very excited about that as well. And also we have a series of classes that we're going to do here. Will, can you come over for a second? Will is one of our farmers in the state of Pennsylvania. He's a mushroom farmer. He's also one of my permaculture students that's certified. So he kind of like helped early stages work on this. But I asked Will, would he be willing to do our first series of classes? And teach people how to grow mushrooms. They should be able to take those kits home and immediately do that at home. From what I'm hearing, a lot of people around here said they love mushrooms, so we should have a pretty nice class for that. You want to talk a little bit about that, Will?
Yeah.
How easy are mushrooms to grow?
Mushrooms are actually fairly easy to grow. I've been working on a lot of low-tech methods to teach people in inner cities how to cultivate mushrooms around the country. And through doing that, have developed a lot of various techniques. But we can grow mushrooms as simple as utilizing paper waste, utilizing cardboard to cultivate them. So that makes it very, very simple. We go through different phases where we could find edible mushrooms growing around this general area, take them and get them growing on cardboard, which is very simple. And then eventually I step up into a little bit more advanced techniques of utilizing wood chips and sawdust and things like that. But once an individual has a general understanding on how to grow them, it could be really simple and very lucrative.
Oh, that's terrific. That's wonderful. And so Rafika at one point was your teacher. So what did you learn? What did you learn from that class?
Well, I learned a lot. I took my permaculture design certification at the Boys and Girls Club here in Harrisburg, and I learned a lot about how to design sustainable systems, whether it be in a garden or whether it be in a social setting. And I gained a lot of inspiration from that, and I learned that there are people that are passionate about making the changes necessary to enjoy a better environment and to live a healthier lifestyle. So I think that's some of the biggest things that I took back with me from
That's
that
wonderful.
class.
That's a living example of what we can be doing here. So,
Well, not only
yeah.
that, tell me some more what you do. You writing books,
Um,
he's traveled.
yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm very
That's
proud of
exciting.
this
No,
young
that's
man.
wonderful.
Yeah, I've written and self-published 3 different books, 2 on mushroom cultivation, 1 on algae cultivation.
Okay.
I've worked with different nonprofits around the country and in different countries to develop more sustainable systems and educate people about urban farming, gardening, mushroom cultivation, algae cultivation, wastewater management, treatment, and a host of other things. But you know, I'm just trying to build more knowledge about what we have going on here, show people that that anybody can do this anywhere. It doesn't really matter where you are, and you know, try and just share the knowledge so that more people can create revenue for themselves, more people can create a healthy life for themselves.
No, that's great. That's absolutely what it's all about. So, thanks so much, and really shows the potential of what we're hearing. Now, you better believe we'll come back in the spring and see the growth.
Well, hopefully when you come back in the spring, we'll have some more beds set up with our classes that we're going to do. One of the classes is teaching people how to use Tupperware. I'm sorry, not Tupperware. Rubbermaid tubs.
Rubbermaid tubs, yes.
Yes, and also how to the old lounge chairs, how to make them high-raised garden beds. So we're talking about putting 10 here that'll stay.
Okay.
But we want to have folks to come in and learn that, and then they can take those home and put those together right away at their house.
That's great. You got an incredible group of volunteers here today. People from all over. I know we had to limit the total number of people just so we didn't. But it's great to see. It's great to see all the energy. Is there anybody else you want me to meet or talk to?
Paul, can you come over a second? Paul is also, he's my teacher.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Paul told me all about aquaponics. CCA's aquaponics system.
Yeah,
Paul
sure.
built that.
Oh yeah, I've obviously seen that. Beautiful. Fantastic.
He's built systems pretty much around the world. I asked him to come up today to look at here, talking about our water system, and also what we could possibly do with the greenhouse.
Right.
So he would like to, after today, we could sit down and come up with a plan for you on what things can look like. And those are the 2 main things we want to focus on: water catchment right now, and also how we can look at taking this should be totally off the grid for us. So we know we have some solar panels. See, we can use those.
Hey.
Paul can help us with that
I
whole
can hook
piece.
you up with as many solar panels as
There we go.
We have a lot. But absolutely we could. And as you know, we're obviously on a slope here, so and we're in a residential portion of the neighborhood there, so any water that we can capture here would be beneficial.
Absolutely.
Won't go into the storm drains.
Right.
So are the wheels spinning? Do you see the potential?
Yeah, there's a few things more impactful than empowering people to feed themselves. So it's a good site.
Yeah.
If Rafika's on it, it's gonna get done. That's
yeah,
for sure.
well,
So.
the proof is in all the energy that you see around.
Absolutely.
That's great. Well, thanks for that, and appreciate your assistance and involvement.
Thank you for your support, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, this is also Alexander Davis. He's also my husband, but he's also a resident here. He runs an organic farm also down in South Carolina that has natural springs, ponds, etc. That's self-sustaining. The whole farm's off the grid. It's over 15 acres. We got forest. And you want to share something of? That's about it.
No, that sounds great. So we will.
Trying to keep up with her.
Yeah, hard. It's hard to keep up, but well, it's going to be successful, and it already is. And then it's bringing people together and getting them to think about the right things. Appreciate all of your leadership and hard work, and I think people can see the possibilities here, the potential, the realities, the goodwill of everybody coming together trying to make this work. So we're really excited for what the future has in store for the greenhouse.
Yes, you
So
have a lot of response.
Yeah.
People want to know what they can do and how they can do it. So we're all excited.
All right.
We're all excited.
Well, thanks for watching. This was only our second on-the-road community conversation. Usually we're in studio, so it was nice to get out and about, see so many people in person, not do it over Zoom. Until next week, I'm Eric Papenfuse. Did Asher, did you get any questions? I know we were trying to do a text. Let me see if any questions were texted to me at the thing. So So I don't see any questions at the moment. That's part of the mobile technology. Hello.
She lives
Yeah.
right across the street.
Hi.
How you
Oh,
doing?
yeah, good to
Nice
see
to
you.
meet you.
Let's do the fist bump.
Fist
Okay,
bump.
good. Are you excited? Basically being across the street and having seen this just be not utilized for so long, that must have been frustrating.
Right, it was. I was very excited to know there was one even across the street because I've been asking about one.
Yeah.
So like I was excited when the trees got chopped down and I seen it. I couldn't even believe it.
Right,
So
you didn't even know it was here.
No, I didn't know it was here, so I'm excited. So I'm ready. I'm ready to start playing. I'm ready to start learning new things about the greenhouse, like for real. I'm ready.
That's fantastic, and that shows the connection. And I know, Sharice talked a little bit about coming here and getting fresh food and flowers.
Yes, that would be best.
That too.
And he can learn something too. Like for real, it gotta start young. I see the little man over there digging, so they gotta start young so they can learn what it's about for real.
Right.
Because it starts here, then the grocery store.
Absolutely.
Right.
That's
Here,
great
then
to
the
see.
grocery store.
Hey, thanks for that. Thanks for sharing.
Say hi. No problem. Thank you.
Yeah, you're live.
Have a good
you're
day.
live on TV.
Yes, thank
All right.
you.
Good. Well, anyhow, we'll see everybody next week. We'll be in studio, and our topic next week, economic development. We'll have more information for you coming soon. Till next time, I'm Mayor Eric Papenfuse. Stay safe, be well, and we'll see you next week on Facebook Live, Fridays at noon.